Welcome to Your Inner Power with Krista. This podcast is for the deeply intuitive ones, the curious ones, and the ones who follow their own path and embrace their uniqueness. We'll chat about all things spiritual, life's adventures, and always go back to deep self-trust because it's all within you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. We are now on episode 9, and today's episode is going to be all about what September taught me, the month of September. I feel like I am a completely different person from August. I'm not even joking. And I've talked to many people, my friends, clients, family members, and they have all agreed that September was a month. I am not an astrologer. I know a little bit about astrology, and I can tell you that there was an eclipse season during September. And that eclipse season really was eclipsing. That's all I could say. And we're going to go deep into my experience and my reflections because I think it's really helpful to hear when people are experiencing difficulties and really amazing things at the same time, and how to kind of hold the duality and the emotions that may come up or the feelings that may come up through the experience. I knew that September was going to be a pivotal month within my business because I did have something scheduled to do within my business that was outside of my comfort zone. And it was something that was new to me. And I was definitely nervous, but also really excited. That's what I knew about September. But everything else that kind of happened at the same time, I didn't plan for or anticipate in any way. In my personal life, I wound up navigating a very difficult experience in September. Someone very close to me got very ill, and it was pretty abrupt and sudden and unexpected. This was basically my worst nightmare. It was extremely serious. And while I was navigating this, I was also experiencing up levels within my business. I was experiencing really exciting things within my business. I was welcoming in some new mentorship clients. I was receiving more bookings for readings, and I was also showing up in my business in a deeper way. So, as I was experiencing something so traumatic and so sad, and I was experiencing all of the feelings and the emotions and just all of what happens when there's difficulty going on in life with people that we love. I was also experiencing really exciting things within my business and things that were really to be celebrated and things where I felt so connected to the work that I was doing and to the beautiful clients that I was calling in. And I decided to make this podcast episode to talk about what the experience was like and what I learned holding both of these at the same time, because I've never experienced something so traumatic at the exact same time that I experienced really incredible things as well. I really learned that I could hold it, that I could hold all of the change at the same time. And that didn't mean that I didn't experience really low lows. I did. I absolutely did. And I allowed myself to feel my feelings and go through all of the motions of that. But I knew that I would be okay. I knew that I would be able to hold it. I really was able to surrender to whatever was of the highest good. And when I say surrender, it doesn't mean to just let it all go and to just be like, I don't care what happens. It doesn't matter to me. Not in that way. Just trusting in whatever is the outcome. Even if the potential of having a certain outcome happen scares the living crap out of me or makes me extremely sad or makes me extremely emotional. I learned that I didn't need to have all of the answers, that I could just allow myself to live my human experience, that I didn't have to fully understand, that I didn't have to search. I didn't have to search for all of the answers. I didn't have to have an explanation for everything. I could just be in the human experience, be in whatever was coming up for me at that moment. I really prioritized staying in the present moment because when difficult situations arise, especially when it includes someone that you love so deeply, it can be very easy to get stuck in the future, in the possible outcomes. And what I really consciously did was pull myself back to the present moment over and over and over again. Because me trying to guess the outcome was not actually even protecting me, right? It's our minds thinking, well, if I try to think about it happening in this way, if I try to control it in this way, then everything will be okay. But the bottom line is everything will always be okay, even if it's extremely difficult. I learned that words don't always have to be said, that unconditional love is always the answer, and to go back to unconditional love. And when I didn't have words and I didn't know what to do, I would go back to my heart and I would sit with my heart. I would give love from my heart and I would just send love and support to this person in my life and to those around me and to myself. As I navigated being further seen in my business and sharing more, I'm continuing to allow myself to expand. And of course, like doing this podcast and speaking more here and allowing myself to expand here is part of it. But I really focused on the fact that my voice is important. And it's not always about saying this specific thing or bringing this specific message through, but it's also about me just doing it and me just speaking. That is so healing. I have always been the quiet girl that was very sensitive and just kind of sat back and watched everything and sensed everyone's energy around me. I was not only the quiet little girl, but I was the quiet teenager and I was the quiet young adult until I really learned that my voice is important and it needs to be heard. And it's healing just for me to know that it's safe to share. And I learned that younger version of myself, all of the younger versions of myself are so proud of me. And they're in awe of me just allowing myself to speak my truth. And I share this because I know that there are other women that were also in my shoes, that were also the quiet young girl that wouldn't say anything, deeply sensitive, and have felt like they should just stay quiet when they truly have so much to share. They have so much beautiful wisdom. And allowing yourself to share that wisdom, but also to really support yourself for just talking and sharing. Like the fact that you are doing that, the fact that you are allowing yourself to speak your truth is so, so healing and so, so beautiful and something to be deeply proud of. It doesn't have to be said perfectly, it doesn't matter. It's really about you just allowing yourself to share. September also reminded me to thank the girl that devoted herself to learning the modality of reading the Akashic records, because that girl went so freaking deep and it wasn't easy. And she allowed herself to question, to open her Akashic records every day, to trust, to lean back on trust again and again, even when it was so hard to trust, even when the limiting beliefs were coming up, even when she thought she wasn't good enough, or maybe she wasn't supposed to do this. She would keep going and she would keep trusting and she would keep surrendering to the process. I feel so thankful to that version of me because she brought me to where I am now. And I am really able to lean back on myself. And I know this journey continues. And I know the more that I develop and the more that I trust, the more I will be able to trust deeper. But I really am able to go to places I never thought were possible before within reading the Akashic records for myself and for others. It's so amazing and incredible to witness. And it's because I devoted myself to going deep and to going into the shadow and to going into those parts of myself that are really difficult to look at and to bring light to those areas and to hold them with grace. I am so thankful to that version of myself. I learned that I can plant the seeds, but I don't have to do the work for other people. And this is something that I go deeper and deeper with. And it's something that we understand that we don't have to do anything. We don't have to change anyone. We don't have to force anything. It's not our job to do that. But sometimes we can get caught. And sometimes I get caught. And I am learning this lesson again and again in deeper and deeper ways. And September taught me to go deeper with this. I learned that I don't have to make things happen for other people. I can share my experience, but my experience is not their experience, and their experience is just as beautiful. And I have to allow for their experience to unfold. It is not my job to create a certain experience. I don't have all of the answers. All I need to do is to show up as myself. I really learned about experiencing multiple emotions at the same time. And you can experience those difficult moments of sadness and also feel joy and also feel excitement. And that's okay. It doesn't make you bad or wrong in any way. Because you are experiencing something deeply emotional in your life, that doesn't mean that you can't experience joy as well. That doesn't mean you have to shut off all your other emotions and only be in pain, because that joy is part of life, just as that difficulty and pain and sadness is part of life. And I think part of this is unraveling conditioning. Conditioning around if someone in your life that you deeply love is experiencing pain and suffering, we have been conditioned to believe that we should only experience pain and suffering, and we can never feel happiness or gratitude at the same time. And that is simply not true. We can have deep compassion and we can have all the difficult emotions and have the big feelings. And we can also experience happiness, smiles, joyfulness, excitement at the same time. All of it can be true. I'm sharing this experience because I think it's something that's not talked about a lot. Holding the amazing thing and holding the horrible thing at the same time. My ear is ringing right now, which means there's some angelic energy around. Just feeling into that. I just feel love and support for what I'm bringing through right now because honestly, sharing in this way is not really easy, but I do know it is what I should be sharing because I know that someone else experiencing difficulty and really happy, amazing things might feel like they can experience those happy, amazing things. And I want to give you permission that that is okay. And that's our conditioning to think otherwise. So let those emotions come up. Let yourself ride the emotions. You are not the emotions, but every single time I had those big emotions come up, I would say, all right, let's ride. And it actually makes me emotional to say that because it was like this experience where I just accepted, right? And it's accepting that and letting it be. And I pictured almost like an ocean and I got on my surfboard and I rode that wave and I was okay with it. It didn't define me. And I just let myself feel that emotion and I knew that that wave would rise up and then it would fall. I'm going to close out this episode here. I hope this was supportive to you in some way. I do know that we've all had a very interesting September. And I just want you to know that whatever it is that you experience, it's taking you to that next step. It's taking you to what you are ready for. And it's helping you to become that version of yourself that is ready for that next thing. I am sending you so much love on your journey, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Your Inner Power with Krista. If this episode resonated with you, please leave a rating and review. This helps my podcast grow and reach new listeners. You can connect with me on Instagram at Krista Nastu. And if you're feeling called to go deeper, links to work with me can be found below. Until next time, remember, everything you need is already within.